To be fair to Mr. Trump, he simply followed the advice his medical experts, best and the brightest, gave him. The advice was insufficiently urgent. The advice was sometimes ambiguous. The advice was sometimes contradictory. The advice was sometimes flat out wrong. For example, Anthony Fauci is probably the most respected face of the response to the coronavirus pandemic. Here's what he said on January 21 of this year.
Okay, so manageable numbers. Bottom line, we don't have to worry about this one, right?
Well, obviously you need to take it seriously and do the kinds of things that the CDC and the Department of Homeland Security are doing. But this is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
Same day on another program.
Bottom line, we don't have to worry about this one, right?
Well, obviously you need to take it seriously and do the kinds of things that the CDC and the Department of Homeland Security are doing. But this is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
Nancy Pelosi says, come on down to Chinatown. She was saying that in January.
It's exciting to be here, especially at this time, to be able to be unified with our community. We want to be vigilant about what might be on what is out there in other places. We want to be careful about how we deal with it, but we do want to say to people, come to Chinatown. Here we are. We're, again, careful, safe, and come join us.
Ms. Pelosi wants to establish a 9/11-style commission to study the president's response to this pandemic. Will she set up a 9/11 commission to study her response to the coronavirus pandemic? This is a New Orleans EMS official right before Mardi Gras.
Remember that the flu we are in the middle of that season. There is no concern at this time for coronavirus in our region. As Director Arnold notified us this morning, we have been made aware that there are not any cases. The risk for us is very low at this time.
New York City Health Commissioner, February 2.
The risk to New Yorkers for coronavirus is low, and that our preparedness as a city is very high. There is no reason not to take the subway, not to take the bus, not to go out to your favorite restaurant, and certainly not to miss the parade next Sunday.
Same New York City Health Commissioner, 5 days later, February 7.
The important thing for New Yorkers to know is that in the city currently, their risk is low and our city preparedness is high. And so we know that this virus can be transmitted from one individual to another, but that it's typically people who live together, that there's no risk at this point in time, we're always learning more, about having it be transmitted in casual contact, right? So we're telling New Yorkers, go about your lives, take the subway, go out, enjoy life, but practice everyday precautions.
Same commissioner, March 2nd.
Because of the fact that this New Yorker took early action, and we know that there's currently no indication that it's easy to transmit by casual contact, there's no need to do any special anything in the community. We want New Yorkers to go about their daily lives, ride the subway, take the bus, go see your neighbors. The important thing, as both the mayor and the governor have said, we want New Yorkers to lean even more into frequent hand washing and covering their mouths and their noses. And if you can't get to a water source, make alcohol-based hand sanitizer your new best friend.
No need to do anything special. Go see your neighbor. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, same day, March 2nd.
I think it's a really great vignette to use to help everyone understand what's going on. And particularly, look, as a parent, I want to say I know parents all over the city have been deeply concerned. I really want you to heed the points that the governor just made. This is a disease we're learning about, the international medical community is learning about. But so far, it does not seem to be a disease that focuses on our kids. In fact, the opposite. But the point, the vignette with your daughter, that in fact the facts are reassuring.
That was the mayor of New York, March the 2nd. The facts are reassuring. All I'm saying is that the level of urgency was not there, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're President Trump, whether you're Nancy Pelosi. And when Trump banned travel to China at the end of January, the very same people who are now arguing that he responded sluggishly to the coronavirus squealed like pigs. Joe Biden referred to the travel ban of China as an example of President Trump's hysterical xenophobia. This is a ex-Harvard medical professor, Dr. Hazeltine, who is admitting that the coronavirus was more infectious than we originally thought.
Well, we know it's highly infectious, and as the days go by, we're learning it's more infectious than we thought it was, say, a month ago, even 2 weeks ago.
More infectious than we thought it was a month ago, even 2 weeks ago. So can you knock it off? Can we deal with what to do? Can we work on coming up with treatment, coming up with a vaccine? Practicing mitigation strategies, as opposed to trying to figure out how you can blame Donald Trump? One study from the University of Southampton, UK, says that had China reported this thing in a timely fashion, 95% of the cases could have been avoided. But let's blame Trump. Let's accuse Trump, as Chuck Todd asked Joe Biden, of, quote, having blood on his hands, close quote. If Trump has blood on his hands, a lot of these medical professionals, some of the best and brightest, quote, have blood on their hands, close quote. President Trump hammered for not listening to his experts for 3 years. He listens to his experts about the coronavirus. What happens? Hammered. It doesn't matter. Dr. Fauci said, unless we can get this under control, there's a chance it will become seasonal.
Well, you bring up a very good point, Margaret. Unless we get this globally under control, there's a very good chance that it will assume a seasonal nature, in the sense that even if we, and I hope it's not just if, but when we get it down to the point where it really is at a very low level, we need to be prepared that since it unlikely will be completely eradicated from the planet, that as we get into next season, we may see the beginning of a resurgence. And that's the reason why we're pushing so hard in getting our preparedness much better than it was, but importantly, pushing on a vaccine and doing clinical trials for therapeutic interventions so that hopefully, if in fact we do see that resurgence, we will have interventions that we did not have in the beginning of the situation that we're in right now.